So you finally reached pro status, which is super exciting. First off, congratulations. But when we're looking at it, after all of the fun of leveling up and everything else and moving up through the ranks, what do we do once we're there, right? Once we get to the pro level, we can't buy FSA properties anymore. So what's next? How do we keep the profit wheel turning so we can keep the machine going, if you will? This question comes in from Ariel. Thank you for posting this one. It's, let's see, can you make a video going over pro status? I just hit it and now I'm kind of stuck on how to flip my properties now that I can't buy FSA anymore. Or are there any tips or strategies that are helpful to this? And there definitely are. There's a lot of ways to go about this. First off, thank you for posting the question. I definitely appreciate it. Hey there, John Henry here, ssftg. Welcome to the video. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome, my friend. I hope to earn your like and subscription today. Before we get into the topic of the video, I did want to take a second to go over a Street View submission. All right, so here is this Street View. Eric Marin, thank you for posting this one. I really appreciate it. Mama's Rooftop. Okay, let's check this thing out here. What, oh, no way. This is sick. Check this out. Yeah, you should have a big grin on your face. This is an awesome view. Wow, nighttime LA view down to, like, this is Hollywood, right? Right on top of the roof. Man, now this is a really, really cool one. I got to admit, man, I'm kind of jealous. If I find my way out in the LA area, I might have to check this place out. This looks freaking cool. Thank you for posting this. All right, so now that you're pro Uplander or higher, right? It could be any of the levels, but what do we do, right? What is there to do? What can we do to make sure that we've got profits still coming in outside of just our normal earnings and all of that other stuff? So to me, this is where the game gets really kind of interesting. We effectively become virtual real estate brokers at this point. We have to hunt different markets. We've got to track pricing trends, social trends, even watch things like YouTube and TikTok to watch where community hubs are being built, or now with cars, where racetracks are going to be planned on. That said, it can be very time consuming. Yes, of course, it can definitely be time consuming, but just like in the real estate world, although we're not talking $1 million deals here yet, but that can be very lucrative when we're talking about the NFT space as well. For me, a few things that I like doing to keep the profits rolling in. One of them is just hunting for UPX deals on the secondary market. Someone who's trying to get liquid UPX for a new city launch or, an upcoming Spark sale. Hunting for USD deals that are on the secondary market for cheap, while people are trying to get money for Spark sales. Scanning current zones and keeping track and comparing them to my current pricing. If I have listings for sale, and they're in Detroit as an example, and I'm trying to sell them, but they're way above the floor, and I still have some wiggle room, I might be able to buffer my prices a little bit to try to get them to sell a little bit quicker. We can also go in and we can rent our Spark for UPX. I've done a couple videos that go over that. I can use some of those profits from Spark to utilize building on my own properties, adding to value on my own back-end portfolio. Hunting for collection pieces. That's a really fun one, especially if you're trying to get them on a good discount. That can be a lot of fun. And if all else fails, there's always just minting the current cheapest floor. So let me take you through one of my normal daily routines, so to speak, and that way you can kind of see how I approach things. First off, again, hunting for UPX deals. When I'm hunting for UPX deals, obviously I do like the weekend review that goes over all of the different sectors. I track quite a few of them, but there are other reasons. Mainly people will focus in on specific markets that they enjoy. Maybe it's Detroit, maybe it's Los Angeles, or maybe specifically within those areas, it's Southwest Santa Clara, whatever it happens to be, but that's their focus where they want to really hone in on. And it's usually easier if you focus on 3 or 4 different areas without going overboard and tracking them all. Again, I make YouTube videos and all the other stuff, so I've got to track them all to keep you guys in the loop. A little bit of an advantage for me, I suppose, but usually people will focus in on their favorites. So with that in mind, if I'm trying to hunt for UPX deals, what I want to do is go over to upxland.me, upxland.me, and I'm going to search for different things in here. You can see I was just looking at the Santa Clara area. But as an example, let's go to Kansas City. I am currently trying to complete my Troost Ave collection, either that or it sells. So if I go into Kansas and we'll go down to Troost right there, in that collection, and I want to search for sale properties. The cheapest markup's 114%, but let's look at the sale price. Cheapest sale price is $100. If we go to the UPX side of things, do a search there, the cheapest one is $82,000. So it's obviously not very cheap right now. I want to try to hunt for a deal. So for me, that's one of the things that I'll look for, is hunting for those deals and seeing if I can find one that's out of price. But that's more along the lines of like collection hunting or filling out your collections. If you're just looking for general areas, what I find very useful is UplandOptimizer for this. You can see I was actually looking for TrueStab on here. But if we go over to San Francisco as an example, I'll just pick the first one from the list. What we can see here is the cheapest price is $30.69. Now, if you've been following along with San Francisco prices, that's a little bit lower than what it has been, but it's not really that much of a discount. That's not a deal that I'm looking for. So we'll continue through the list, and this is literally all there is. We'll go to Fresno. Are there any deals inside of here? Now, this one is a bugged one. Nobody's actually selling anything for 100 UPX. The next one is 5,500, but that's 1,000% markup. Not really my cup of tea. What about if we hunt in this area for a good markup price? The lowest markup is 107%. We're not going to really find much value there. If we go into Brooklyn, is there anything being sold for under markup? Well, there's one, but it's $70. This is obviously not a cheaper one. This is going to be a little bit more of an expensive one. Then beyond that, it's 129%, 116%, so there's no deals here either. Okay, so here's a really good example of what I'm talking about. A Parkwood collection piece, an epic collection, epic, that's the gamer in me. A limited collection piece, I see purple, epic. We've got an epic collection piece, and it's being sold at 62% markup. It was minted for $96,000, and they're selling it for $60. That's the kind of deal that I'm looking for. That is a phenomenal deal. Now, again, it's $60, but here's the thing. It's in a collection. It's under mint, so even if it doesn't sell, I can park it in one of my collections and replace one of my smaller properties, if it happens to be bigger, and I can just switch out and sell my cheaper one. Now, I've upgraded my collection. I'm selling out another one in a collection piece, and I've paid a massive discount on it. That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. Now, if we wanted to stay on the cheaper side, maybe I don't want to dump in $60 on a property, even though that's an incredibly good deal. A little bit further down, we've got Priest Lake, another collection piece, selling at 74% markup. That's $14,000 being sold for $10.60. So if this is one that actually looks good for me that I want to buy, all we have to do is take the address, go into the game, go to the search box, paste that one in there, jump over to it, make sure it's in the right place. Always double check that you've got the right property, the right person, etc. This one should be from Land for Land. And it looks like it's already been sold. 3229, is that the one? 3229, yeah. So somebody else already jumped on the deal. It was a really good deal. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for when I'm looking for UPX deals, USD deals. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's a good deal. It might be cheap for a reason. Try to hunt for areas that are in collections or things that actually have intrinsic value to it. So here I've got a list of all of my different properties that I've still got available in Detroit. And if I wanted to compare them to the current pricing to see, am I pricing them well enough? Do I need to adjust them? Are they too cheap? Are they too expensive? This is where we can really focus in. So this is why I keep all of the neighborhood information, so we can go into those neighborhoods and double check our pricing. Again, we can go into Upland Optimizer or UPX Land. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. They both have the functionality. We can go down to the Detroit area here. And then from Detroit, what we want to do is not collections. We're going to be looking at neighborhoods. One of the first ones I have is in Chandler Park, right there. So if we do a search for Chandler Park, the cheapest one inside there is $4,995, which might be useful. What about the markup? The lowest markup's 139%. So even though the pricing might not necessarily be down in those 6,000s, the markup is actually what I kind of want to see to make sure that I'm in the right place. So as far as Chandler Park is concerned, I have a property that's listed in Chandler Park for $69.30. Right, so as far as the overall pricing of it, $69.30, I might even be able to find myself in here. Unless it's already gone. Yeah, it might have already sold. Whoops. But either way, what I'll do is I'll go through there and I'll make sure that my pricing lines up for the neighborhood. In this case, my pricing's a little bit high for the neighborhood, but if we look at the markup, the pricing's not actually that bad, which is probably why it sold and I don't have it to actually show you right now. So another example would be over in Greenfield. So let's go over to Greenfield and check the pricing over here. The pricing in Greenfield currently has a floor of around 48.80, but it jumps up really quickly to 5,000, then 5,500, and it seems like the majority of the floor kind of picks up from 5,500 in terms of health. These bottom two are probably just being sold for quick UPX. So if we're looking at my Greenfield properties, I've got one of them at 8,000, another at 8,500. I've got one at 6,600 and one at 5,997. And actually, I can see my 5,997 one right there. So in terms of pricing, we're actually pretty much right in alignment with where we want to be, which would make sense because I just went through and updated all my pricing, so there's not really going to have to be much that has to be done. But it's good to go through and make sure that your pricing is competitive for the area. Another thing that I love doing, and I actually did a video on it not too long ago, but it's renting my Spark out for UPX. I rent my Spark out so that I can earn some UPX that I can use then to build on my properties. So that's over on UPX Spark Exchange, and like I said, I did a video not too long ago about that. But here we can see that I actually have a property that is currently being built right now. It cost me 22,000 UPX to build to finish it off, and it's going to take me, now that I've paid for it, all 10 out of 10 Spark are staked because I paid for the Spark to get staked, and it'll be done in 2 days, in 2 hours. So the money that I've been earning from renting my Spark, by going in here, renting my Spark, looking for live listings, and seeing what's available for me to rent out. Obviously, I want to rent the highest price one. Got to get paid, right? I've been stacking those profits in the bank. So we can go into the bank, we can look at the bank logs, and we can see that these are all earnings from different mining. Earning profit, 1,500, 1,400, 1,700, 200, 800, all the way down until we finally have enough to pay for one of our builds to get finished. And once we have enough to pay for one of our builds to get finished, we move on, let that one finish, and we can go from there. One of my favorite things to do, if I do have Spark available to rent, which right now I'm actively building on one, trying to get that finished in the next couple days, so I don't. But if we do have active Spark to rent, then we can be able to go down here. Oh, actually I do. Hey, look at that. Perfect. That's excellent. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I've got 0.15 available. I'm just wasting 0.15 Spark. So this is a really good example. What do I do with this 0.15 Spark? Well, let's earn some UPX with it, right? Let's go over into the UPX Spark Exchange. We'll go into Rent My Spark. I want to go into live listings and see who has non-full ones. I want to see who's paying the most. And right here, Mr. Mojave is building an apartment building, all right? Let's copy this address over in-game. And let's sell some Spark. Well, rent some Spark. We'll go over here. Again, always double check to make sure that you've got the right one. It's Mr. Mojave. It should be a big apartment building. That's not right. Let's try again. 1815 Oceanfront Walk. Okay, so sometimes this does happen. What we can do is we can go in and we can try to find him by his name. So Mr. Mojave. Let's go in here. We will do a player search instead for Mr. Mojave. Thank you. Let's pull him up real quick. And what we're looking for is, let's see, 1815 Oceanfront Walk. 1815 Oceanfront Walk. Let's see if we can find this in the list. I didn't look how many properties he has. Man, I tell you what, if Upland is watching, put a search feature in here. This is killing me. 815, what is it? 1815. All right, give me a second. I'm going to see if I can find this. Hoy vey, I finally found it. All right, so we can click on it, and we'll contribute to the construction. I believe I've got, 0.15 Spark available. Let's apply it. And bingo bango, just like that, we're selling our UPX. Might take a couple seconds, or selling our Spark, renting it out for some UPX. But it might take a second, but in a little bit here, when we go into the rented Spark, we'll see it pop up in here, and then that one will be able to finish off, and just like that, now we've rented it out. There it is, right there. And now I'm getting paid 38.95 UPX per Spark per hour, which I'm only renting out 0.15, so I'm only earning 10 UPX an hour here. But still, just like that, it's that easy to start renting out your Spark for UPX. It's crazy. And now that all else is kind of done, we've hunted for collections, we've hunted for cheap USD properties, we've hunted for cheap UPX properties, we've made sure that all of our properties are listed properly. There's too many props in there. We also went through and rented some Sparks, so we're earning UPX there as well. We're really getting the ball going here. Now all that's left is to see what prices are available for minting on the floor. Really easy to find that information here. Again, we can go to the Upland Optimizer. And one of my favorite things, I did a video on this not too long ago, but if you go into the tools and you go into mapping, we can map the unminted properties. Data unminted properties, and then we'll look in Detroit for non-FSA. I am too high of a level, obviously. That's the point of the whole video. So I want to find non-FSA properties, and we will search there. The cheapest ones that we've got are in Chadsey Condon. 5535 is the cheapest. So all we got to do is copy that address over in game. Fingers crossed this works, and it brings me right over to it. Should be an empty property here. These are FSA Oh, well, it might be right across the street here. There's a couple of them. How expensive are these? $72.90. These aren't the ones that I was looking for. $71.55. All right, well, there's a few of them hanging around here. So all we got to do is just hunt for the ones that are the lowest price that we want to mint a couple on the floor, add those to our, there's a 66.15, add those to our portfolios, let them sit for a little while, maybe list them for sale, hang on to them for a little while until we need some UPX later on. But that's really all there is to it. Send around there, mint a couple of them, add them to the portfolio, we're ready to rock and roll. So as you can see, I mean, there's a metric ton of stuff to do. Just because FSA properties aren't part of the equation anymore doesn't mean that there's nothing for us to do. In fact, if anything, there's a ton more for us to do because we don't have to worry about FSA selling restrictions and all of that other stuff. Now we can really start having fun. So hopefully that kind of shows you what I do and kind of my general overview and how I hunt for things and look for things and different deals and kind of go about my day as far as Upland is concerned. As always, if you have any questions or anything like that, thoughts, new videos, or amazing street views, or anything else that you want to share with everyone, drop them in the comments. Yours might be the next video topic. As always, like I said, I love hearing from you all, so drop them down there. But thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great one.